today for module number 3 in our Anchorage Wild Experts program. We just want to make sure that everyone can hear and or see us okay. So if you can just go ahead and give us a wave or type something in the chat box, we want to make sure everything's good and we can get underway. Perfect. Maybe let us know where you're calling in from. I know Tia is in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm here in Auckland, New Zealand. And I know we've got people calling in from across the markets. Obviously, New South Wales and Victoria, you guys are open and you can travel stateside. And funny enough, following our last webinar, Tia and I had an inquiry from an agent that had attended that was sending someone to Alyeska Resort for a winter ski vacation, which was super cool. And that's a great reminder. So if you guys, obviously you're going to learn how to build itineraries today with module 3, but if you need any help and support outside of today, never hesitate to reach out to Tia, myself, Karen, or Laura from our team. And we're here to be contacts for you to connect you with wholesalers or suppliers, anything you need. So today you're going to learn how to build Alaska and Anchorage itineraries, and Tia is going to lead you through that. If you have any questions as you go along, go ahead and just type them right in the chat box, and we will endeavor to answer those as we go or at the end. And of course, before we begin today, we do have a few questions for you guys. They're going to appear, and they've appeared right on the screen, and we just ask that you go ahead and answer those questions and hit the submit button once you've finished. So question 1 is, have you been personally to Alaska before? Yes or no? And question 2 is, have you booked clients to Alaska previously, and what did they book? Was it cruise and land only, or you haven't booked? And then question number 3 is, did you include Anchorage on your clients' itineraries, and how often? And question 4, are you planning on completing all 4 modules of the Anchorage Wild Experts program with us and become certified? And that's yes or no. So the AWE program, if you haven't by chance joined us for module 1 and or 2, just email Laura from our team, and she'd be more than happy to send those modules out to you, and you can complete those and become certified. Likewise, if you have colleagues that haven't maybe joined for any of the modules or want to do those modules, they can do them online or just get in touch with us and we'll send them out. We want to get as many of you certified as possible. And of course, to deliver us through this training program has been Tia Froley, longtime friend, multiple time market visitor. She's come down to Australia, New Zealand a number of occasions, and maybe you've seen her at Visit USA or as part of our Alaska sales mission. But I'm going to turn it over to her again because she is so informative and so passionate about the destination that we all love to take us through how to build itineraries. Tia, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. So happy to be back, coming here from Anchorage, which is a little chilly here today. So I'm a little more bundled up than you guys are. I think it's nice and warm there, but we're right into our winter season, which is super exciting. So I'm going to go out on my fat tire bike this weekend. So getting the studs put on that so I don't slip and slide on the ice. So again, so happy to be here. So happy that you're here for the 3rd time with me too. And we're going to talk about how to create those multi-itineraries, multi-day. So using Anchorage as a base camp still for a couple nights, because you always have to include 2 to 3 nights. We are a big city with lots to do for a reason, and then go to these beautiful communities that surround us here in South Central. But as we get started, we're going to start with this beautiful video that I think the first video that we're going to show, we're going to head, if I remember right, we head north a little bit of Anchorage, and then we'll end with one that goes a little bit south, and that's what we're going to do today. So enjoy this video.
When my love takes me home, it's 105 in a 30 mile zone.
One thing that surprised me on this trip was everybody was really excited to have visitors and to have us up here, and they gave us tips and told us where to go and where to eat, what to drink. Everybody was super friendly and helpful. They recommended we go to the Anchorage Museum. We learned so much about Alaskan history and the different cultures. Even before you get into the museum, they have a big outdoor area full of art.
It felt like this little pocket in the city. And it was just us lost in the falling leaves with these sculptures that would kind of surprise you around every bend.
It's really a must-do when you come to Anchorage. We are really close to Anchorage, and when you come up this winding road, the beautiful trees, it opens up into these magnificent mountain views. It is fantastic.
Yeah, I could not stop taking photos. So we just arrived at Eklutna Lake, and we are about to do some hiking and kayaking. Just wait till you see the views.
Can't slow down. We drive through the deserts and the fields, up and down the coast through the hills.
Being out there alone in that glistening water, it was so smooth, the air was so fresh. It was just a really picturesque moment that I'm going to remember forever. This is where we needed to be, and I'm so glad we didn't wait.
It's almost too beautiful. You're trying to get to dinner, you're trying to get somewhere, and then you just like look and you got to stop and just stare for a couple minutes. Everywhere is just amazing. We ended the night at a lake where float planes were taking off and landing. And it was so gorgeous.
Can't slow down.
We shot that last fall, and you can see why fall is one of my favorite times with all those bright yellow colors. But we are in the works of a winter video right now, so it'll show all the wonders of our snow adventure season that we have here. So stay tuned for that coming next. But all right, let's get started. It is our Anchorage Wild Expert Module 3, the multi-day Anchorage itinerary. As we move forward, and as you guys are able to travel again, thank goodness, right? You made it, and Alaska's ready to welcome all Aussies and Kiwis, because you are a very important client of ours, and we just truly know that your clients will love Alaska. It is just a very special place here in the US, and we can guarantee that there's going to be something that wows them that they'll come back and talk about, because it is that unique of a state. And I also think that Alaskans and Kiwis and us Aussies have like the same kindred spirit. We're all very adventurous, we're very welcoming, outgoing, and that's why our markets work well together. So again, my name is Tia Fraley. If I haven't met you, I hope to meet you. I have been able to go to Australia and New Zealand a couple times now, and I was just talking to Corey, where can't wait to come back. So stay tuned. So hopefully we can do a mission, or I maybe met you at a Visit USA event. So hoping to come back for that in July as well. So we'll see what the budget does, but love coming to your guys' countries. So again, this is me playing in my backyard. I'm a lifelong Alaskan who absolutely is passionate about where I live, and I like to get out and play in it all the time, and I like to have a little bit of fun. So that's me at the Wildlife Conservation Center. That is a caribou antlers up on my head. That is me out on Madanuska Glacier, where I got to take a helicopter and land on a glacier, and that is one of those big mulans behind me. Like, how cool is that? I will always go play on a glacier anytime that's offered, summer or winter. And then that is up in Talkeetna. Those are with my pizza wings, because it shows my love for pizza. My three favorite foods are pizza, chicken wings, and reindeer sausages, which, you know, we make them right here in Alaska, and is very popular for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And of course, I love to wash those down and talk about my adventures with a good craft beer. We have about 13 breweries here in Anchorage. So anyways, enough about me. Let's get started. As you guys know, Visit Anchorage is the destination marketing organization for South Central Alaska. So we have 5 different regions of Alaska. We are focused on Anchorage and South Central. We also operate the Log Cabin Visitor Information Center right in downtown Anchorage, and our 2 different airports here in Anchorage, the international and domestic. So we have locals here to help your clients once they're on the ground. So just know if they have any questions or issues or anything, they can really go to our Visitor Information Center, and we'll be more than happy to help. And as you sell this destination, as you sell Anchorage and South Central Alaska, if you have any questions, you know you have friends in me and Laura and Corey that will help you answer all those questions and make the right member of Visit Anchorage that your client needs to make sure their Alaska vacation is what they need. And I'm going to actually highlight some of them today, some that actually have been in market with me that I know work really well with you, offer commission, and do either just these amazing day trips or multi-day trips with you. So stay tuned for a few that I will highlight. So again, we've been around almost 50 years as Visit Anchorage. So again, we just want to really, truly help you answer all those questions for your clients. So again, Anchorage, the last two modules, we really focused on Anchorage heavy on what there is just to do in Anchorage itself. And as we've learned, it is the largest city here in Alaska. And we call ourselves urban and wild, like we saw in the video. We are urban because we have all the amenities your clients are looking for in a city, but then surrounded by wilderness for all that outdoor playground that they want to be here in Alaska for. They're adventurous. They want to get outside. That is the beauty of Alaska, is getting outdoors and enjoying all the midnight sun that we have in the summertime, or maybe dancing under the northern lights in the wintertime. So that is the Chugach range in the background right there. So that offers, trails and rivers and lakes for all that hiking, biking, kayaking, ATVing, and everything else you can imagine outdoors right here from Anchorage. I just want to show you what it looked like the other night here in Anchorage. This is now the wintertime look at night, where those Chugach Mountains are covered with the white snow that we have. And we're getting ready to open our big ski resort that I'll mention here in a little bit. But the full moon that has been happening the last couple nights have been amazing. We had that eclipse that we got a beautiful view here. We had a clear night here. Not only did we get the eclipse, we got the northern lights that same night. We have just been magical winter wonderland here, and it's only November. We haven't even hit December, so pretty cool. And I also like to show the daytime. This is what it looks like right now in Anchorage, and you can see the water, we're oceanfront city. That's the Cook Inlet. It comes off the Gulf of Alaska. So just so many options and so much beauty here in Anchorage and South Central. Okay, so the first member that has traveled with me and I want to highlight here is Alaska Photo Tricks. I mentioned them just because I always think starting a vacation for your clients with someone that teaches them how to take that right photo, whether they have a really fancy camera or just a smartphone, Carl at Alaska Photo Tricks can do that for them, because it's all really about getting that great photo, right? We all know that. I want it. I want the perfect Alaska photo. I still try every day when I see the Northern Lights or a moose or a calving glacier, because that's what we want to post and that's what we want to share with others. So Alaska Photo Tricks, he does anywhere from sunset safari evening tours. He chases the Northern Lights. He goes on where you go looking for the urban moose around Anchorage and get those really fun pictures of our moose. And he does it year round here, and he can do multi-day too. So a lot of options with Alaska Photo Tricks, and a great way to capture and learn how to capture that moment before they go out on the rest of their itinerary. We are known as an award-winning trailside city. As you've learned, we have over 223 parks here in Anchorage. We also have 405 kilometers of trail systems. So whether you just want to go on an evening stroll or go hike to one of our many peaks, there's so many options to get outdoor and play on our trails. So that's what it looked like in the summer. This is what it looks like in the winter. This is what I'm going to be doing this weekend, is getting on my fat tire bike, and you can go to all these frozen lakes that you can go bike on. There's these sloughs that you can go through that is like a little river that's now frozen that you can't go on in the summer. You can go on the wintertime, and it's just a beautiful way to get out on our trails. So again, if you're not into maybe biking, you can do snowshoeing. You can just go out in your winter boots. You can go cross-country skiing on these trails. So many options to get out. Another local company to use to do that is Alaska Trail Guides. And again, these are all locally owned and operated companies that I'm going to talk about, but they are really great for whether you want to get on a mountain bike and go mountain biking on more of that wilderness trail, or if you just want a 2-hour nice casual ride after dinner on one of our paved trails, they have that option. And even if you really don't want to bike and put in a lot of effort, they have those electric bikes, the e-bikes, where you can actually just get that electric assist. So you see a hill, you just go, oh, I'm going to touch this button and then let it zoom me up the hill. So what a great way to travel on our trails with Alaska Trail Guides. I will point out, look at that. They saw 260 moose on their trail in the summer of 2019. So I'll have to get what they saw in 2020 and 2021, but they see a lot of moose on the trails here. And that's a great way to do it. Another great way to do it is by Go Hike Alaska. And actually, Go Hike Alaska works with Alaska Trail Guide. So you can go hiking during the day, and then you can go biking in the evening. And again, in the summertime, as you learn, we have all that midnight sun. We have 22 hours of light. So it's easy to do the combination of these. He also, at Go Hike Alaska, works with Cyrus at the Anchorage Trolley, which hopefully you guys have met before. He's another one that's traveled down under with me, and he runs the 1 hour city trolley tours, and then you can get off at Earthquake Park and do a hike/walk with Matt, and then get back on the trolley and finish that tour. So again, what the pandemic has brought to us is all these small tour companies have worked together in making these new combinations. So really great full day activities to really enjoy, but not only in just the summertime, but in the wintertime as well. And then, like I mentioned, Alaska Trail Guides even told us how many moose they saw. So we're always looking for wildlife in and around the Anchorage area. If you see a car pulled over, most likely something's being spotted. Most commonly are the moose. We have about 1,500 moose that live in and around the Anchorage area. But in the wintertime, they're actually really easy to see because why? You can tell right here in the picture. They're brown, so they stick out a little bit more in the white. And in fact, I just went to the airport just on Friday, and there was 2 bull mooses, which the bull moose was that first picture with the big rack, big antlers. This is a cow. This is a female. But just right there by the airport, right along our highway system. So again, everyone's stopping and taking pictures because why not? They're such amazing animals. A little fun fact about our moose, though. Somehow it is law that you can't give a moose a beer. Yep, a beer, which is crazy to me because that means if it's a law, if it's illegal, someone had to try that. I don't know who would give this massive animal some beer, but just so you know, you can't do that and tell your clients they can't give a moose a beer. So another great local company I love to also put your clients on with when kind of at the beginning too. Again, it's learning how to take those pictures. This is Alaska Pic Tour. So he really focuses on taking that right photo with your smartphone. And he includes the wilderness, the wildlife, and the glaciers all in 4 hours. He has a morning tour and he has an afternoon tour, and he's just really fantastic to work with. And it starts and ends at our log cabin. And the wildlife could be, at Guaranteed Wildlife Spotting, which is the Wildlife Conservation Center that I'm going to tell you about. But they're also looking for all that wildlife along the way. So he can pull over at any time he's seeing wildlife. So Alaska Pic Tour is a great tour. Also, as we've mentioned, every module, I'll always talk about glaciers because that's what you come to Alaska for. We have so many glaciers here, right? Just within an hour to 2 hours from Anchorage, you can visit 60 different glaciers. You can add more to that, but at least 60 glaciers can be visited within a hour to 2 hours. And then, as we've talked about, depends on how your clients want to experience that glacier. So they can fly over one like the massive Matanuska Glacier or Kinnick Glacier that you see here. You can take a helicopter and land on one, just like this couple here, and take these massive photos on a glacier. This is out of Girdwood. Or you saw me land on a glacier, which is a kind of a different look. And that is, again, on Kinnick Glacier. So whether they're heading south or north of Anchorage, there's different ways to land on glaciers via helicopter, or they can just go walk on one and hike on one. They can do a kayak on one. But I have to mention the wintertime, our glaciers in the wintertime are amazing. So this is me visiting 3 different glaciers at 3 different times this last winter. So the one where I'm touching it and it looks like I'm in snow machine gear, that's because I did. That's Spencer Glacier, where I took a snow machine to it, and you walk through these different caves that has created from the icebergs that have calved off of that glacier. And the blue is just mind-blowing, And then this middle one, this is at this is Kinnick Glacier. And again, now I'm on the lake that's in front of it in the summertime. So you get to see the lake in the summertime, but in the wintertime it freezes. So now you're going through all these different caves and crevasses that it's created. It's a whole different blue depending on how the sun's hitting it. And then that last photo over there is me at Matanuska Glacier. And you're just kind of squeaking through the changes of this ancient ice. It is just, there's these caves that it forms too. So you can crawl through these caves and you just truly a different experience. So that's why I say glaciers are cool no matter what time of year you come to Alaska. Another great local company, and they're Salmonberry Tours. In fact, they just actually won an award. I'm trying to remember what the award was, but for being one of like the cool Alaska locally owned highlighted companies. But they also do some really great base camp itineraries. So again, if they want to come and spend a couple nights in Anchorage and do just these amazing day trips that we've been talking about and then move on, that's great. And that's when they go on the road less traveled. Maybe they want to go a little bit differently than the masses, and they can kind of go to those hidden treasures that we have. They can do like a road less traveled itinerary for you. And then, of course, they also specialize in winter. They love winter just as much as I do. And they have spectacular winter opportunities for the Northern Lights, dog sledding, city tours, that kind of stuff. But one of my favorites that they do is their Iditarod package. So they do it's called Chase the Race, where you actually follow the mushers of the Iditarod. And as we know, the Iditarod is our one professional sport here in Alaska, where they start in Anchorage and they race for up to 8 to 14 days up to Nome. And you can actually go to some of the different checkpoints, and it's a whole 10-day package. Truly amazing if you want to feel really authentic Alaska dog sledding and being with our one professional sport. So that again is Salmonberry Tours. I think 2022 might be sold out because it is the 50th running of this last great race, which is fantastic. But still lots of other options to maybe go to the starting point and do some of those activities with Salmonberry Tours. So, you're watching a dog sled one day, at the Northern Lights another day, you're experiencing a glacier, just so much to see and do. We're very spoiled here. And as you saw in the video too, flight seeing in Alaska is very popular because we don't have mass road systems here. So to get up and in the air into some of the remote wilderness lakes, we have 3 million lakes here. So it makes sense that you have to go flight seeing to them, because you're going to land on those lakes and be able to go fishing and go see the bears at some of our national parks. But again, because we have no roads to those areas, you do have to take a float plane. So Cole is with Russ Flying Service, and they're based right here in Anchorage. And whether it's just getting up in the air for an hour and a half to just see Alaska from the air, amazing, and you can see wildlife and glaciers and everything from the air, or go and overnight at one of these amazing remote cabins or lodges that are on these pristine glacier-fed lakes and go bear viewing. As you know, I'm obsessed with our bears here in Alaska. So to go bear viewing is one of the top things I think clients should do here, to actually go see them in their habitat. We have about 80% of the brown bear population here in Alaska. So you really, truly get to see them living their best life and catching the salmon and how they interact with each other. And then, of course, fishing, like I mentioned, fishing here in Alaska is spectacular. I understand why people want to come and fish in Alaska and catch that wild salmon or halibut or whatever kind of fish they want to get, because I do the same. I am out there fishing as much as I can as well, whether it's fly fishing or you're in a riverboat or out on one of the oceans in Prince William Sound or at Kenai Fjords National Park. So lots of options for fishing. And these are the two most popular national parks for bear viewing, which is Katmai and Lake Clark National Park. So again, we know King Otis is our fat bear champ of 2021. My new t-shirt should be coming in the mail anytime soon. So maybe I'll wear that on my next webinar. But really, truly to see these national parks is incredible. And of course, a cultural experience in and around, whether it's in Anchorage or in one of these different villages that we have in and around the Anchorage area, is truly remarkable. But they only have a couple hours. Our Alaska Native Heritage Center is just the top Native cultural center here in Alaska, because all 5 regions, they come and work here in the summer, but we just found out they're open this winter now. So super excited. They used to be only open in the summer, but now they are open 5 days a week this winter due to a grant. So we're hoping that will continue. So really to immerse with the first people of Alaska, to hear their stories, to hear how their ancestors got here and how they still live the subsistence life today. It just blows my mind away. So please include that into an itinerary. And of course, the dining, I've mentioned this in other webinars, so I'll skip through that. I brag about it all the time. We have fresh Alaska seafood here, and it's amazing, but we have something for everyone. And it's just a culinary delight here in Anchorage. And then if you do have clients that want to do a craft brew tour, we have Big Swig tours. So they can actually just do an afternoon tour, or they can actually, he has one that heads south and one that heads north. So if they want to be gone all day drinking beer and eating and they get back to Anchorage that day, he has those options as well. So like one, you take the train to Talkeetna and you work your way back to Anchorage that night. I've done it before. It is a great time, great food, and you get to meet some of these really small local brewers. And then Great Land Adventures is another little local tour operator here. They're a lot like Salmonberry. They have a lot of the same offerings, keep it to small groups. open year round. They really like to chase the lights. They like to go on those glaciers. They like to do city tours. They can do just day trips or multi-day trips for you. And again, they always offer commission. If anyone I've mentioned on this offer commission, because I know how important that is for you guys. But Great Land Adventures, Steve Busby is one of the best to chase the lights. You should follow him on Facebook. He's been really posting some really fabulous photos here in South Central Alaska. Okay, now let's start going a little bit south and a little bit north. So we're going to get out of Anchorage and hit some of these other great communities that we have. And we're going to use our friends at Alaska Railroad. Heather's traveled with me a couple times to down under, so hopefully you know her as well. But they have 3 departures daily from Anchorage. It's not an overnight train. It is, they make these stops that you'll see, and then they do that every single day in the summer. And they do operate in the wintertime too. It's called the Aurora train. And right now it's only operating on the weekends north. That's the only one they have in the wintertime. But then once we hit February and March, where it's more popular here, they'll have midweek trains as well. So a great way to really travel around in the wintertime as well. So let's focus on the summer departures. In our first departure, they have 2 that go to south of Anchorage. So the last train, actually, I kind of did this reverse order. The very last train that leaves of the day is 9:45, and it's called the Glacier Discovery train. So it's going to leave Anchorage 9:45 and make the stops at Girdwood, Portage, Whittier, and then that's how you're going to get out to Spencer Glacier. Those that don't want to get off at Spencer Glacier to do some type of outdoor activity, such as hiking or kayaking or rafting, those clients can actually stay on the train, and they'll go all the way to Grandview. Grandview, you're just right on the train, taking in all the mass beauty. You still see the Spencer Glacier from afar. You get to see the valley of these mountains and the mountain ranges. So it's just, maybe you have those, the grandparents that are traveling with a multi-generational family. Well, let them stay on the train. They can go to Grandview, and then they'll come back and pick up their family that was at Spencer Glacier for the day, and then head their way back to Anchorage, getting back into Anchorage at 9:15 p.m. So that is the Glacier Discovery. So let's just highlight some of the different communities that you'll stop in. One is Girdwood. Girdwood is where Alyeska Resort is. This is our year-round resort that is just absolutely stunning in the summertime. You got that pond right there. You're in this lush forest. You got hiking and wildlife around you. There's the tram that takes you to the top of Mount Alyeska. You're going to get a view of Alternative Arm. You're going to do a fine dining. Just endless amount of activities that are available here in the summertime, but then look at it in the wintertime, like just a whole change in this winter beauty that we see. And now it's a ski in and ski out hotel. So how cool is that? Because we're at sea level too. There's no elevation that your clients have to get used to. And they just leave from this hotel, go right up to the mountain. There's 72 different trail systems that they can take. So whether they want to do double black diamonds, blues, greens, there's something for everyone. And if they want a little bit more of a wild time, there actually is a helipad right there. So they can actually go and take a helicopter up to those mountains that you see right behind there and do some heli skiing in the Chugach Mountains. So again, a little bit something for everyone. What's opening this month is their new Nordic Spa. So check out the Nordic Spa at Alyeska. It's going to be truly amazing. And that is supposed to be opening next month, or not next month, next week. And this resort actually opens for skiing next week as well, right around our Thanksgiving holidays. They're usually their first opening of the season. So can't wait to get my skis on and get down those slopes. And then this is Portage. Portage is known, probably the most known for is 2 things. One is Portage Glacier, probably the most visited glacier that's closest to Anchorage. You can take a day boat 1-hour cruise that takes you up to the face of this, or you can go hiking to it. There's kayaking and rafting on there. There's stand-up paddleboarding. When it freezes in the wintertime, you can take a fat tire bike or cross-country skis up to the face of this glacier. Just spectacular. And then again, the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center that I mentioned is right there in Portage, 200 acres of wilderness setting. And again, these are Alaska animals that are only there because they've been injured or orphaned in Alaska. So this is their second chance at life. So there's really cool experiences that you can do in encounters where you can feed a moose a branch, or like a baby, you can give them a bottle. I was able to do that with one of the caribou that was there when it was only 3 months old. So really, really cool encounters that you can do. You can do stuff with the porcupines too, like they were mentioning in the video. So maybe you want to meet Twix. They're all candy bar names for our porcupines. And then we go into the town of Whittier. Whittier is unique little town. The only way in is through a tunnel, and it is into the beautiful Prince William Sound. Prince William Sound is the most glacier-fed sound that we have in the world. So you can go out with Phillips Cruises and Tours, and you can actually take you can go on a 5.5 hour cruise that you will see 26 different glaciers. And you get a sit back, and they'll make you a glacier margarita, and you look for the wildlife, and just a spectacular way to see Prince William Sound. And they can guarantee no seasickness because it is a very calm sound. If you have clients that are looking for a little bit more adventurous and they want to do maybe a smaller boat, Lazy Otter Charters is a great way to go with. They have a boat that fits 8, 16, and 32. So especially if you have a family, a multi-generational family that maybe wants to stay together on a smaller boat, this is a great option. Plus, it's a little more adventurous where they'll actually do a beach walk where they put the front of that boat down and you can actually walk on the beach. And I've seen black bear before when we've done that. In the wintertime, they start in February. There'll be big icebergs on there too. So just a beach walk added to a cruise in Prince William Sound is spectacular. So that's Lazy Otter Charters. Then that next stop that we're mentioning, they can go to Spencer Glacier. The only way is by the Alaska Railroad in the summertime, but this is how I got there on that snow machine. The only way in the wintertime is 14 miles by snow machine. So super cool way to go experience this glacier and feel like you're off the grid. So again, that is Spencer Glacier. Okay, so now the first train that leaves out of Anchorage is the Coastal Classic train. So it goes the same route. It starts off as the same route as the disco train, as we call it. They'll also stop in the town of Girdwood. So if someone wants to continue on to the town of Seward, they take this train and they'll stop at Girdwood at 8:05 a.m., pick them up, and they'll go to the town of Seward. So again, Whittier and Seward are our two cruise ports here in South Central Alaska. So if they are taking an Alaska cruise, they'll get off in one of those two ports. So this train will take you all the way to Seward, which is where they have another option to many adventures. So they can go day boat cruising again in Kenai Fjords National Park. You're looking at these massive glaciers. You don't see as many as you do as in Prince William Sound, but you still get up close to one or two of them, but you see a lot of them from afar. But you're going to get a little more whale action here because you get closer to the mouth of the Gulf of Alaska. So you do see a little bit more whales, but you still get the sea otters and sea lions and eagles and so forth and so on. So there's a little bit difference between going from Seward or Whittier on a day boat cruise, but then there's also the Seward Sea Life Center. This is where they can, it's a center that's for injured and orphaned mammals of Alaska that's in our waters. So again, there to help them survive, which is right there in Seward. They have stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, and I should have mentioned new this last year in Prince William Sound too. So if you have those adventurous clients, they have jet skis, I should say, that you can actually jet ski up to the face of the glacier. So again, Mile to Wild, we have a little bit of the same adventures in all these different cities, but it depends on how they want to do that adventure. So again, let the team at Connect Kiwi and here at Visit Anchorage help you match the right activity or tour for your client. So again, Seward is the home of Kenai Fjords National Park. So if you do have those clients that are looking for those national parks, that is another one they can get to. And how cool is that to be on one of these day boat cruises and see the whales and let the whales play with the boat? It's always breathtaking. Also, what's very popular south is fishing. We get this question all the time. Where can I go fishing in Alaska? A lot of us Alaskans, you can go both south and north. It just depends on what you want to go fishing for. These are two different fish that I caught that are south of Anchorage. So I went silver salmon fishing, and then that is a halibut that I caught right there. But we also have trout. So if you head north, we have a lot of rivers and streams that are north. So you're going more for the trouts and some of the other different salmons that we have. So again, depending on what month your clients are here, they can go fishing. They can actually go fishing in the wintertime too. We have what's called the Winter Kings that they can fish for. And then that third train that's leaving here from Anchorage is now heading north. And this is the one that also runs in the wintertime too. The Aurora train is the same pattern. But in the summertime, it departs every day at 8:15, and they're going to make it the stops in Wasilla, Talkeetna, Denali, and then end in Fairbanks. And at the same time, there's another sister train that's leaving from Fairbanks and coming down to Anchorage. So they're going to pass each other on the way. So that's why it's a daily trip that people can hop on and hop off in these different communities and spend a couple days and take that train to continue north or to come back south. So lots of different ways to play with the train in the itineraries. I do want to mention Eklutna. It was in the video. The train doesn't go there, but if you do have clients that have a car rental or they're working with one of our local tour operators, they can take them out to Eklutna. Or if they're renting an RV or camper van, this is a mecca of all outdoor adventures, and they have amazing campgrounds. So I highly recommend Eklutna for everything I've mentioned, from ATV to kayaking to hiking to every type of boating. So lots and lots to do in Eklutna, which is takes about 35 minutes from Anchorage to get there. And then if they do get off the train in Wasilla, they can go to that Manuska Glacier I've mentioned a couple times. Great place to go hike for a couple hours, trek for all day, or they'll actually set up a tent on this glacier, and your clients can actually camp on a glacier. So that is Manuska Glacier. And then also in Palmer and Wasilla is where all our farms are. So this is where a lot of our restaurants get the farm to table vegetables. And this is where our big state fair is. But you can do a farm tour where you visit 3 different farms in one day. So getting that agriculture part of Alaska. And then the next day, maybe they hop on the train and they go to Talkeetna. So Talkeetna is a beautiful, wonderful town, one of my favorites actually, and it's one of the best views of Mount Denali. You get the whole Alaska Range, you get Mount Denali, and if you can do a flight seeing trip with K2 Aviation, which is the sister company of Russ Flying Service, it'll take your client's breath away. If you can add on the glacier landing on Ruth Glacier, highly recommend it. They'll talk about it for years to come. The pictures will be amazing. And I mean, they can do a snow angel right on top of a glacier. You're just right next to the peak, the tallest peak in North America. You just feel like a tiny little person in this beautiful, majestic mountain range. So highly recommend seeing Mount Denali from Talkeetna. Plus they have an option to do a jet boat safari. This is where 3 rivers meet, and you can go zooming around on this jet boat, learn a lot about the river systems here in Alaska. You can go fishing with them, and they actually take you to an old Athabascan Alaskan Native fish camp too. So you get to kind of see how the Alaskan Natives live in the wilderness. So super cool. And then after a day or 2 in Talkeetna, because there's lots of cabins and lodges to stay there, they can jump back on that train and go up to Denali National Park. We do know that Denali National Park is a very popular checklist on everyone's wish list, and it's this massive 600-acre playland. But please note, if your clients are coming in 2022, the entire road back into the park is not open. There was a slide that happened. I'm sure you might have heard of it. And so part of that road is closed. If they stay in one of the lodges in the backcountry, they can still fly on a small plane to get back there. But if they're going to do a tour into the national park, they can now only go to mile 42, which is about halfway into the park. It's still going to be amazing. They're still going to see the animals, but they just can't do that full day all the way into the park, which is at mile 92 for the summer of 2022. So just note that. It is on our website if they have any questions. And then with that, they stay a couple nights in Denali, then they can make their way back to Anchorage, or they continue up to Fairbanks. And we have a beautiful airport from Fairbanks that they can fly out of as well. So they don't have to double back to Anchorage if they don't want to continue on to that multi-day itinerary. So with that, these are more activities they can do in Denali. Just a ton of rafting and ATV and zip lining. So I'm just going to end as you can tell, there's so much to see and do just in South Central Alaska that you can easily book your clients, whether it's 3 days on a pre or post cruise or an entire land package. There's so much to see and do here. But as always, if your clients have the time and they can see all 5 regions, then they really can see true Alaska. But again, we're here to help make that South Central area beautiful and the itinerary where they want. And here I say that is Corey, Tia, and Laura, and following each other, just like polar bears do. But saying that we are here to help if you have any questions, right, Corey?
That's right, Tia. That's right, Tia. And the connecting point for suppliers as well. And we had some great comments as you went through. Some of them we've answered, but just for everyone on the call, we will include the list and links to the operators that Tia mentioned today in our follow-up tomorrow. So you have those at your ready. It was a great suggestion by one of the agents. One question that did come through that I said we would get answered, Tia, is Indigenous tourism is obviously a big part of the world these days. And one of our agents asked, is there an option to spend a night with the native people somewhere in Alaska or in your area?
Yes, there's actually a couple different options for that. It can actually be set up through the Alaska Native Heritage Center, but there's also like the Eklutna. There's this whole Alaska tribe there. We have 11 different indigenous tribes of Alaska. So depending on if they have a particular tribe they want to meet or spend time with, they can do a fish camp with them. They can actually go up across the Arctic Circle and actually go to like Coldfoot and actually be in one of their villages too. They can actually visit, Alaska Airlines will actually go up into Nome and Kotzebue and Utqiagvik, and you can actually spend the day in Alaska Native Village. And depending on whether you want to learn how to fillet a fish, you can learn how to fillet a fish with them, and that's how they live. Or they'll teach you how to make Eskimo ice cream, which is very fascinating. I don't know if I'd suggest tasting it, but you never know. Everyone has a different flavor, but I'll send the recipe for Eskimo ice cream in the follow-up email with Laura. You'll be surprised what they put in their ice cream. It's not the same as the ice cream I eat.
Sounds good. And a lot have commented about that South Central graphic that you shared on the last slide, and the location of that is where?
That is on that travel trade planner that we have, and they can do electronic version on our website. So if you go to anchorage.net, travel trade, and it's in the travel trade planner, and you get that whole graphic right there. I think it's fantastic. And I always say when you're talking to clients, it's just great to have a map in front of you, so then they kind of get the logistics of where everything's at.
Cool.
So yeah, that one's on that travel trade planner.
Cool. Well, and we'll make sure we include all those links as well tomorrow, but Anchorage.net, and then the Visit Anchorage Wild Expert part of that website is an exceptional resource for you guys. Just as a reminder, there is a benefit for you completing your certification. You get the Anchorage Wild Expert certification certified logo. It's how they have their own social page that you'll be able to join. You're in the draw for competitions and incentives and all kinds of things. So, and regular communication that comes out from Visit Anchorage. So that's what you're all working towards. As a reminder, one lucky winner will win their way in 2022 on the Anchorage Wild Expert Specialist FAM program, including $500 US towards your airfare to get to and from Anchorage. And we'll be drawing that at the end of module 4, but you need to be certified. So let's get you there. Tia and I, we're going to pull up some questions that we need to ask you. And you can go ahead and again, answer these right on the screen as they come up, and we'll take you through them. If you have other questions for Tia and I as we go, feel free to put those in the chat box. So question number 1, true or false, Anchorage is a year-round destination? True or false?
Yes, hopefully by now they know that we are not just a cruise season. So many people think that you can only come in the summer on a cruise, but not true, right, Corey?
That's not true.
We got to get you guys up, your family up to come ski Alaska.
We're close. We're close. I can get my haircut on Thursday.
Absolutely, you sure can. All right, number 2, Anchorage is an award-winning trail city. Which companies offer hiking and biking tours that I mentioned today in the webinar? Go Hike Alaska, Alaska Trail Guides, A and B, so they work together and you can get out on those trails, or none of the above.
And question number 3, you can visit how many glaciers within a day trip from Anchorage? Was it 10, 30, 60, or 100?
Yes. That's always a good question. Always include glaciers in your itinerary building. They are fantastic here. All right, I mentioned this earlier. True or false, it is illegal to give a moose a beer. I think that's one of our funniest facts I think we have here in Alaska. But because again, someone tried this, that they had to make it illegal. Like that is just mind blowing to me. But it is in law. It is in writing that it's illegal.
Lots of crazy laws in the world.
That is true.
Choose all the destinations that are day trips from Anchorage by car or the Alaska Railroad. And Girdwood, Seward, Talkeetna, or the famous all of the above.
I'll start learning there's a lot of all of the above, right, Corey? Because we're just trying to prove to you guys there's so much to see and do.
There is, and a few people are asking around the Alaska Railroad and the quality of service. So I did in the chat box, if you didn't see, include links to the Alaska Railroad website. And they also have a video section to that site that gives you a real good, unique onboard experience. So check that out if you didn't already. Sorry, Tia, back over to you.
And they also have a great training program as well for travel trade. So definitely check it out too. It makes it easier to kind of sell it to going through their program. So, okay, number 6, which of these activities are based in Prince William Sound, the beautiful Prince William Sound out of Whittier, Alaska? Is it a glacier and wildlife cruise? Can you go kayaking? Or one of the new things that you can do is do that jet ski tours. That's what I'm going to try this summer. That looks really cool. Or all of the above.
And 7, which of these are Seward-based activities? Is it Kenai Ford's National Park Cruise, fishing, the Alaska Sea Life Center, or all of the above?
So much to see and do in all these awesome communities. All right. How about, once again, what local tour companies can create multi-day custom itineraries for your clients, or they can also just do those great day trips from Anchorage if you use Anchorage as a base camp. So Salmonberry Tours, Alaska Photo Treks, Great Land Adventures, the Alaska Railroad, or all of the above.
What I think is super cool, and I mentioned this maybe previously, but about this list is that many of these companies have visited Australia and New Zealand. And it's because of the strength of the market and how important it is to Alaska, but obviously they also understand the importance of trade. And I think you mentioned it earlier. Yes, we'll include the links to these companies tomorrow, but there's so much great market-ready product for trade in Anchorage and Alaska. And I think, yeah, and they're super supportive of us. And I just want to say thank you to you, obviously, and the Anchorage team, but it's great for all of us down here. Amazing. That's it.
I know, we made it through. This one was a little bit longer, but there's just so much to cover, right? But we do have one final video, though, Corey.
We do, but just as a reminder, December the 7th is the final module in the series. It will be at the same times, Australia, New Zealand time. Don't miss that. It is focused on Module 4, Cruising Alaska. Yes, cruise is still important to us, but we're going to talk about how we combine South Central and what's important in doing that when you're selecting the cruise component for your client. So yes, don't miss that. We'll follow up with you tomorrow, but yes, there's one final video and you want to lead into it, Tia. Where are we going this time?
Sure. It's going to be that kind of like that same first one we saw. So it's the same couple coming back, but this time they're going to head south a little bit. So last time we head north a little bit to Eklutna. This time we're going to head south, I think, to the town of Girdwood. So here we go. Enjoy.
Awesome. See you guys on the 7th.
I know, we're not dancing our way out. That's
Hey, good morning.
How are we going?
Great.
We started at that super cute coffee hut,
Thank you so much.
made our way to Bird Point.
Which was incredible. The water is so far out and it was sparkling, and then you saw these huge mountains like just surrounding you everywhere. It's like you're being swallowed by these giant mountains.
Yeah, like rays of light shining through the clouds and like the gradients of the colors. It's amazing.
Wake up from a daydream, feel your neurons ignite. Levitate your body, thoughts and limbs reunite.
We are here on the historic Iditarod Trail in Girdwood, Alaska.
So come on, come on, come on. Rock a two-step, shake them bones.
This was part of the original Serum Run.
And it feels so cool to be standing right here in the middle of this history.
Come on, taste the rhythm on your tongue.
It's like we're in a book right now, in the middle of a forest.
100% fairy tale.
I'm sorry if the camera is shaking, but I just have adrenaline pumping through my veins right now because we just got done feeding a dangerous wild animal.
We just got a porcupine. It was way cuter than I was expecting it to be.
I'm ready to just throw everything away and move up here and just feed Twix full time. Make that my career.
Get down from that high horse, ride this feeling with us.
You see pictures of bears and you think it's going to be this amazing creature, and then you get super close in person and there's just nothing else like it in the world to experience that kind of closeness. And this guy back here, look how cute and chubby he is. Winter ready.
Today's just really been an adventure.
Yeah, I feel like it's been exhilarating. I feel refreshed.
Just blown away. I would just say I've been blown away at everything we've seen today.
shine like gold.